Hi, this video is junk silver and American Silver Eagles versus silver rounds. Let's define things real quick. Junk silver means the pre-1965 U.S. dimes, quarters, halves, dollars. American Silver Eagles is this stuff. This is an American Silver Eagle, and it is 1 troy ounce of silver minted by the United States government, and they're selling millions and millions of these things. As far as the silver rounds, they're 1 troy ounce of silver, and they're minted by a variety of companies, privately held companies such as Sunshine Minting. Now, objectively speaking, 1 ounce of silver is 1 ounce of silver is 1 ounce of silver. If you have an American Silver Eagle, which is 1 ounce, or you have actual 1 ounce of silver content within the 1965 or 1964 and prior coins, or if you have a silver round, they're all 1 ounce of silver. But I recommend that you buy the American Silver Eagles and the junk silver. Why is that over the rounds? Now, the rounds actually, if you talk about ounce by ounce silver, are a little bit cheaper because the premium is a little bit lower. You pay a little bit more of a premium for the Silver Eagles and also for the junk silver coins. Why is that? It's because they're more in demand, and I think the average person who knows what he's talking about thinks that they will be a little bit more valuable in a survival, economic disaster trading scenario. Should we come to as far as inflation, hyperinflation, the silver is great. Should we come to a scenario with an economic collapse, when there's law and order restored, or if it's never been lost, trading is going to be required. I think at first people will actually still be trading those Federal Reserve notes, the old FRNs, paper US dollars. And I think they'll stop soon after because people will stop accepting them when the realization really sinks in that that lifetime you spent working and earning those paper pieces, that they're actually worth nothing anymore.
And we've covered that tons of times in all our other videos.
Yes, we have. Look at those.
Yeah.
And so what will be the next psychological step I think that the average American will take? Well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to look for some sort of a trading medium. Barter's fine, but the problem with barter is if I've got some fresh eggs and there's no refrigeration anymore, and I've got fresh eggs and I need to sell them, and what I really want to buy is corn. My eggs are ready and they're not going to be ready forever. They've got the clock ticking on them, and I want to buy your corn, but your corn's not going to be ready for a month now, so what do? I need some sort of a medium in order to properly trade. So what has existed? What might people remember first? Well, I'm 49 years old, and going back in history, I remember as a kid still dealing and still having coins that were dated, in 1964 and before, that were made of 90% silver. I remember spending them, and I think the older generations will remember them as well, and they'll pull them out of closets and explain to the younger folks that the phony coins that they've been playing with all their life are made of base metals and are worthless, but that these coins, these good old-fashioned 1964 Washington quarter, yeah, go ahead, show it real quick. That's the 1964 Washington quarter. That's actually 90% silver, and it's actually worth something, as opposed to the other quarters you have knocking around now with all the recent dates that are made of base metals that are basically worthless.
Look the same, but they're tricky.
So, I think that would be logical. I think people will also start pulling out the American Silver Eagles once again. And, the Eagle is a great coin. It's minted by the U.S. government, of course, and it's 1 troy ounce of silver. And I think people are going to be introduced to it, and they're going to see some value in it, and they're going to see that it was minted by the United States government, which in their memory still means something that actually is a medium of exchange. The problem with the rounds, even though an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver, is that they're minted by private companies like Sunshine Minting. And to the average American, privately minted currency is something that's really unheard of. And I think they're going to have an unfair prejudice against it for a period of time because in the mind of the average American, private currency is counterfeit. It doesn't make sense to them. So I think that's why I think the 90% silver and the American Silver Eagles will be accepted as a full trading value much more quickly than say the rounds will be. Lastly, think how long it took you, people who are accomplished survivalists, how long did it take you to study up to get to the point where you realized that maybe a privately minted silver round could be worth real money? It took you, I'm sure, a good period of time. And it'll take at least that amount of time for the average American to try to figure that out. So I say stick with the junk silver, stick with the American Silver Eagle, because it still will carry, the markings of the old U.S. government, which people will still associate with an actual currency that is valid. Thanks.